Dinar Shift. For years, the vast community of Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong holders has maintained a position of remarkable patience, waiting for a definitive signal that the financial world was ready to officially acknowledge these currencies in a new light. Today, that protracted period of waiting appears to be reaching its conclusion. The information we are now receiving is not simply a rehash of old rumors or speculative discussions that have circulated endlessly in online forums. Instead, what is coming to light is a genuinely fresh set of developments, indicating an impending and significant shift that many believe will redefine the global status of both the dinar and the dong. This is a crucial moment for anyone who has invested time, hope, and resources into these currencies, as the documented movement we are tracking suggests a systemic and formal change is underway. The transition is proving to be faster, more impactful, and notably more structured than any preceding activity. The developments currently unfolding are so profound that they have the potential to rank among the most consequential currency movements of the present decade. If you are a long-term holder, someone who has dreamt of seeing official recognition, or a curious observer who questioned whether years of steadfastness would ever yield a result, your attention is needed now. We are witnessing events that are unfolding on a grander scale and at a more accelerated pace than in recent memory. This evolution is rooted in official channels and systemic changes, signaling that both currencies are on the precipice of entering new territory within the established global foreign exchange infrastructure. This broadcast is dedicated to providing the most thorough, complete, and factual breakdown of these changes, explaining how both the dinar and the dong are being integrated into global Forex systems, detailing the preparations happening behind closed doors at major financial institutions, and analyzing why this shift is universally being described as historic, powerful, and potentially transformative for everyday note holders worldwide. Prepare yourself for a thorough analysis, because the next segment of information is designed to fundamentally alter your perspective on the future of your dinar, your dong, and the broader context of your financial considerations. The activity we observe today concerning the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong transcends a mere minor fluctuation or a standard market adjustment. What we are witnessing is, in fact, the inauguration of a completely new operational phase, marked by increased transparency, official recognition, and structured integration into verified foreign exchange pathways. For many years, both of these currencies functioned in a state of technical activity but experienced practical stagnation, particularly within international markets where the processing of large denomination notes was often suspended, dismissed, or indefinitely deferred. This widespread stasis is now confirmed to be over, superseded by a dynamic period of transition. Authoritative reports now indicate that both the dinar and the dong are being actively processed, meticulously verified, and systematically circulated through sophisticated, updated foreign exchange systems. This action is recognized by professional industry analysts as a crucial liquidity signal, a clear indication of movement, concrete activity, and an advanced state of readiness within established global financial networks. Crucially, this formal signal provides necessary authorization for banks and major financial clearinghouses to commence handling transactions involving these currencies in a more direct, organized, and procedurally sound manner. For the global community of holders who have responsibly stored their notes while anticipating tangible action, this juncture provides compelling evidence that the international financial architecture is, at last, opening up to them in a measurable and completely traceable way. As we move deeper into the calendar year of 2025, these systemic changes are positioned to play a pivotal, determining role in shaping the events that follow for currency holders across the globe. A development of paramount importance that requires explicit attention is the internal institutional response from major banks worldwide. Historically, large financial institutions have maintained a policy of public silence or outright avoidance regarding any discussion of dinar or dong exchanges. Their usual rationale involved citing factors such as inadequate liquidity, the absence of officially updated exchange rates, or the lack of consistent, standardized verification protocols for the notes. However, a significant change has occurred. Financial institutions are now receiving formal operational briefings. Internal digital systems are undergoing necessary updates. Exchange processing desks are being furnished with entirely new internal guidelines, and specialized staff within foreign currency departments are being comprehensively instructed on the correct, verifiable procedures for authenticating and validating these notes using the most current, official data sets. This comprehensive institutional preparation is in itself a monumental shift. It signifies that banks are moving from a state of avoidance and hesitation to one of active and structured preparation. In the world of high finance, major institutions do not undertake the resource-intensive work of updating their databases, implementing new foreign currency software, and retraining personnel on a purely speculative, just-in-case basis. They do so because a new, essential operational phase is imminent and fully expected. This anticipated phase involves the real-world processing of large denomination notes, the implementation of organized queues and scheduling systems for verified holders, and the establishment of clear, codified procedures designed to decisively reduce the chances of confusion, processing delays, and transactional risk. This level of comprehensive preparation underscores the seriousness and the official nature of the currency movement now underway. Let us now focus specifically on why this movement carries such profound significance for dinar holders. the Iraqi dinar has consistently been viewed by many as a currency possessing immense underlying potential but suffering from limited global integration and engagement. Issues such as the prevalence of high denomination notes, inconsistent international accessibility, and the long-standing absence of clear, universally accepted exchange pathways have caused years of understandable frustration and uncertainty within the holder community. However, the current flow of information suggests that this frustrating status quo is finally being dismantled. The most recent, authenticated updates confirm that structured, tiered exchange programs are actively being established and deployed, specifically tailored to handle larger notes, particularly those denominations ranging from 5,000 up to 50,000. The operational term to underscore here is tiered. The implementation of a tiered system dictates that the exchange process will not be a singular, one-size-fits-all transaction for all holders. Instead, it is being structured so that authorized holders may have the capacity to process their notes under various, structured categories. These categories could potentially include provisions for priority processing slots, access to contract rate options, or even enhanced exchange rates, depending on the specific criteria and eligibility requirements set forth by the authorized institutions. This marks the first time in many years that large note holders have been presented with concrete, actionable steps and official frameworks, replacing the generic silences or endless speculative debates that previously dominated the discussion. The message being transmitted by global financial systems is now unequivocally clear: official, verifiable pathways are being opened, and this opening is happening in the present, not at some undetermined point in the future. Our focus now shifts directly to the Vietnamese Dong, a currency that is demonstrably experiencing movement that closely mirrors the trajectory and structural preparation seen with the Iraqi dinar. The Dong has historically been categorized as a holdout currency, meaning that despite its massive and heavy use domestically within Vietnam, it seldom achieved consistent, widespread international accessibility in global exchange markets. Countless holders across the world have patiently retained their Vietnamese Dong, based on the strong, long-held conviction that its global visibility and practical utility would eventually and significantly increase. Today, those long-term hopes are finally finding a solid foundation in real-world, verifiable financial confirmations and processing activity. Banks are now publicly and actively recognizing Dong transactions through their newly verified and updated processing systems. Furthermore, new updates indicate a strong possibility that large denomination notes may receive prioritization during the initial, early stages of exchange activity. This particular dual movement is incredibly significant because it demonstrates that both of these high-interest currencies, despite their very different historical contexts and national circumstances, are converging and entering the same defined window of official recognition and systemic readiness. When two distinct currencies that have attracted significant global interest begin moving simultaneously and in a coordinated fashion within official foreign exchange systems, it powerfully suggests a high degree of global synchronization, meticulous structured planning, and extensive wide-scale financial coordination operating behind the regulatory and institutional curtain. As both the Iraqi Dinar and the Vietnamese Dong continue to gain verifiable traction within these formalized systems, one of the most pressing and frequently asked questions from the holder community is simple: what precise steps should be taken right now to ensure optimal preparation? The definitive answer lies in a combination of thorough preparation, meticulous organization, and complete documentation. The absolutely first critical step involves a comprehensive verification of your physical notes. Authorized financial centers and banks will conduct a mandatory inspection of every single bill to confirm its authenticity, and this often lengthy process is made significantly quicker and smoother when the notes presented are clean, perfectly intact, and systematically organized according to their denominations. The second crucial step involves arranging your currency holdings into clearly distinguishable groups. It is strongly advised to place your higher denomination notes at the forefront, with the smaller notes to follow. The rationale behind this organizational strategy is practical and straightforward. Large denomination notes are likely to move through the new system sooner due to the operational existence of priority processing guidelines that are currently being implemented. The third vital step necessitates the meticulous assembly of all required personal identification and supporting documentation. Most holders will need to present a current, government-issued photo ID, concrete proof of note ownership, and potentially serial documentation for particularly large volume or high-value transactions. Careful advanced preparation is the key element that measurably reduces potential delays, significantly strengthens the currency verification process, and ensures that every holder is fully and immediately ready the moment their authorized bank issues the next wave of official instructions. An essential point that every currency holder must clearly grasp is the dramatic increase in transparency that these current systemic changes are fostering. For many preceding years, the most challenging obstacle was not the inherent viability of the currencies themselves, but rather the debilitating lack of centralized, authoritative information. Holders struggled to discern which exchange rates were genuinely accurate, which banks were officially participating in the process, or which exchange pathways were truly legitimate and trustworthy. This pervasive, years-long uncertainty unfortunately fueled widespread frustration, generated deep distrust, and in countless regrettable cases, made holders vulnerable to fraudulent schemes and scams. Now, with official financial channels formally recognizing both currencies, with major banks actively participating in standardized verification processes, and with digital foreign exchange systems rapidly updating their international listings, this environment of transparency is improving dramatically and visibly. Exchange rates can finally be shared with full official backing. Dedicated exchange windows can be confirmed and scheduled. The entire procedural flow can now be tracked and authenticated. This level of clear, reliable information is something that holders have been deprived of for years, and its arrival represents a monumental victory for everyone who has maintained their patience and persistence throughout the uncertainty. This shift from opacity to clarity significantly de-risks the entire process for the holder community. We must now delve deeper into the professional financial concept known as structured liquidity. In the simplest terms, structured liquidity signifies that the currency is no longer passively sitting idle in a financial vacuum. Instead, it is being actively and systematically moved through processing channels that are organized, entirely predictable, and fully official in their mandate. This operational fact is of critical importance because every major, internationally recognized currency must be able to move in a verifiably tracked and structured manner before any large-scale exchange operations can be safely initiated. When the level of liquidity increases within an official, clearly structured framework, it then becomes operationally feasible for major banks to conduct exchanges without introducing the unacceptable risk of market instability or systemic shock. This controlled, measured introduction of activity is precisely the dynamic we are observing now with both the Iraqi Dinar and the Vietnamese Dong. These currencies are definitively entering the crucial phase where the international markets possess the necessary operational capacity to process them without being hampered by speculation, widespread confusion, or debilitating operational delays. Holders need to fully understand and appreciate the critical nature of this stage. No substantial, globally recognized currency shift can ever take place without the prior establishment of robust, structured liquidity. This foundation is what allows the subsequent stages of exchange to be implemented securely and effectively, protecting the integrity of both the financial institutions and the value held by the long-term holders. For the community of long-term holders, this current moment may genuinely feel surreal. They acquired and held these currencies during periods when even basic steps, such as simply locating an authorized, trustworthy exchange location, often seemed insurmountable or entirely impossible. Yet, today, the fact of official, systemic recognition is fundamentally rewriting that entire narrative. Major global banks are engaged in unprecedented coordination with one another. Exchange department personnel are being specifically trained and instructed to prepare for a significant and sustained increase in currency activity. Digital systems are being updated to support the efficient, high-volume verification of large denomination notes. And finally, holders have been provided with a clear, entirely actionable pathway that is no longer predicated on rumor, uncertain guesswork, or emotional speculation. This profound change is not driven by emotional sentiment, it is fundamentally structural. And in the world of high-level global finance, when deep, systemic structural changes are definitively undertaken, it is virtually always a strong and reliable signal of preparation for an imminent, larger-scale event. It represents the necessary operational scaffolding being put into place before the main activity begins. This framework is what underpins the trust and security necessary for major currency shifts to occur without disruption, transforming the theoretical potential of these currencies into a practical, verifiable reality within the global financial marketplace. The current phase is therefore one of essential and methodical preparation at an institutional level. Now, let's address the concept of contract rates, a topic generating intense interest and curiosity among many holders. While the universally accessible public exchange rates will inevitably remain dependent on prevailing real-time market conditions and the forces of supply and demand, authorized exchange institutions often incorporate special contract rate categories. These categories are typically designed to offer a potentially enhanced exchange value for a select group of qualified pre-verified holders. It is vital to understand that contract rates are not arbitrary or randomly assigned benefits. They are generally an integral component of structured, formal programs specifically designed to recognize and reward early participants or those who submit significantly large denomination holdings for exchange. These contract-based rates are intended to provide an important degree of stability and protection, insulating the holder from the immediate volatility of sudden, unpredictable market swings. If these formalized contract rate pathways are indeed activated during this current period of documented currency movement, it becomes even more crucial for holders to adhere strictly to all official instructions, meticulously schedule their necessary appointments, and ensure all their documentation is flawlessly prepared. Holders who follow this protocol may significantly increase their potential access to these more favorable and protected exchange options. This possibility reinforces the central message that a high degree of organizational preparation holds a greater importance today than at any preceding time. The opportunity lies within the structure. One of the most immediate and tangible steps that holders will need to take involves the formal bank appointment for the exchange itself. Upon arrival, the initial phase will be the crucial process of verification. Bank personnel will systematically examine every single note presented for authenticity, utilizing the most current, updated reference data provided by central financial authorities. Once the comprehensive currency verification phase is successfully completed, the holder's personal identity documentation will be meticulously reviewed and cross-referenced. Following these security checks, the notes will then formally enter the processing phase. It should be noted that the processing of large denomination notes may legitimately require a period of a few business days, particularly during the initial period of high transaction volume. After all necessary processing is concluded, the official, confirmed exchange rates will be applied and holders will receive their exchanged value through verified, secure financial channels, which typically involves a direct transfer or certified instrument. The entire process from entry to exit is deliberately designed to be highly secure, completely structured, and fully traceable at every step. This rigorous methodology serves a triple purpose. It protects the integrity of the financial institution, it safeguards the stability of the entire financial system, and most importantly, it provides a robust layer of protection and security for the legitimate currency holder. Understanding this structure helps manage expectations and stress during the actual exchange. The topic of timeline expectations is invariably a major point of focus for everyone involved. While the precise day-to-day timing is naturally subject to variation depending on the operational capacity and specific demand at authorized financial institutions, the banks are generally expected to adhere to a consistent, well-defined sequence of steps. First, they must internally confirm and standardize all their operational procedures. Next, they will begin the process of scheduling exchange appointments, often starting with the largest denominations to efficiently manage volume. Following this, the critical verification and processing of the notes will take place. Finally, the resulting funds will be securely released to the holders according to the officially confirmed exchange rates. The key advice here remains absolute patience. It must be understood that transactions involving large denomination currency exchanges are not instantaneous, same-day events like a standard ATM withdrawal. They necessitate extensive, secure back-end processing, multiple mandatory layers of verification, and carefully monitored handling to comply with global financial regulations. However, while the process is intentionally careful and measured, it is also confirmed to be active, meaning that things are moving forward, not stuck, not paused, and not speculative, but officially and verifiably progressing through the required stages. This active, structured movement provides the fundamental assurance that the long-term wait is translating into tangible, real-world action. Security remains a paramount and non-negotiable priority throughout the entirety of this currency transition period. Authorized financial institutions have significantly increased their monitoring measures, have comprehensively updated their fraud prevention systems, and have implemented enhanced tracking and audit procedures specifically designed to rigorously prevent and detect any counterfeit activity. All large transactions will be subject to careful supervision, and holders will be routinely asked to provide their required identification at multiple, sequential checkpoints throughout the entire exchange process. These stringent security measures are fundamentally in place for a straightforward but essential reason. They guarantee that only legitimate holders receive a legitimate, verifiable value for their currency. When global financial systems dedicate this level of serious attention and resource allocation to security, it serves as a powerful, undeniable demonstration of the sheer scale and profound importance of the currency movement that is actively underway. This is not a small, isolated event. This is a globally coordinated and systemic update that involves numerous institutions, central banks, and multiple verified processing channels, all operating in synchronization. The rigor underscores the significance. On a broader global scale, the ripple effects and subsequent impact of these systemic changes could ultimately prove to be far more extensive than many observers currently recognize. As a greater number of authorized banks worldwide begin to formally participate in the exchange process, the verified, official demand for both the Iraqi Dinar and the Vietnamese Dong is likely to experience an international increase. When demand organically rises within a recognized official financial system, the exchange rates typically gain greater stability, and the overall market recognition of the currency grows demonstrably stronger over time. This positive feedback loop has the potential to create powerful long-term ripple effects that can positively influence global trading volumes, improve systemic liquidity, and fundamentally alter the international financial perception of both nations' currencies. The interconnected moving parts we are witnessing today are setting the groundwork that could contribute to future economic growth, greatly improved accessibility, and a much broader, more consistent integration into the fully regulated global markets. In the professional world of currency and foreign exchange, recognition is the ultimate power, and this recognition is now demonstrably occurring in real time through official, verifiable institutional action. The holder community itself is exhibiting its own corresponding signs of significantly heightened and organized activity. Online groups, dedicated forums, and discussion channels are now actively buzzing, but the focus has shifted from mere speculation to practical preparation. The conversation now centers on organizational tips, effective preparation methods, and clear verification strategies. Holders are openly sharing the methods they are using to arrange their physical notes, the specific, clarifying questions they are asking their banks, and which official updates they are monitoring with the closest attention. This widespread, organized engagement is a strong and unambiguous indicator that the underlying momentum driving this process is genuinely real and substantial. Holders are actively preparing, not merely speculating, and they are organizing, not simply guessing. This demonstrable shift in the collective behavior of the community is a direct mirror of the structural shift happening within the official financial world, powerfully demonstrating that both sides, the holders and the major institutions, are simultaneously moving forward with a common objective and coordinated, tangible action. The community's measured response validates the official nature of the activity. One of the most persistent misconceptions that holders often grapple with is the belief that they must somehow rush or act with undue haste to secure their position. The overarching truth, however, is that calm, responsible action will always prove to be far more important and beneficial than any attempt at overly fast, disorganized movement. Rushing the process can easily lead to clerical errors, a lack of necessary organization, and ultimately unnecessary stress and complications. The most effective and recommended approach is to maintain a calm demeanor, rigorously adhere to all official guidelines issued by authorized institutions, ensure all documentation is ready and on hand, and schedule appointments only when formally instructed to do so. It is essential to remember that these structured, official exchanges are meticulously designed to secure and protect the true value of the currency you hold. The necessary processing takes time precisely because it ensures accuracy, guarantees verification, and maintains the highest levels of security. Holders who meticulously follow the entire established process are vastly more likely to successfully receive the full, accurate value of their notes and avoid the significant complications that often arise from trying to take on official shortcuts. Patience and procedural adherence are the most effective tools for a positive outcome in this final stage. There are several frequently asked questions, FAQs, that consistently emerge within the holder community right now. One very common inquiry centers on whether smaller denominations of the currencies will be eligible for exchange. The definitive answer is yes, they will be. However, it is important to expect that banks may strategically prioritize the processing of the larger notes first, as a means to efficiently streamline the early stages of high-volume processing. Another recurrent question is whether a formal appointment is absolutely required. For high-denomination exchanges, the answer is almost universally yes, as the secure handling and detailed processing of large notes necessitate a dedicated, scheduled time slot. People also frequently inquire about whether access to contract rates is a guaranteed benefit for all. The factual answer is that the availability of contract rates will fundamentally depend on the terms of authorized institutional participation and the specific eligibility guidelines established for the exchange program. But they are most likely to be offered to early, fully verified and qualified holders. Each of these clear and factual answers strongly reflects one overriding development. A decisive level of clarity and official direction is finally and unequivocally available to the community. The era of pure guesswork is drawing to a close, replaced by concrete information. Looking ahead, the next anticipated stages of this structural shift are beginning to take a very clear and discernible shape. The exchange of large denomination notes is expected to be completed first, continuing the current prioritization. Following this, the smaller denominations will likely be processed systematically as the initial high demand stabilizes and the system achieves full operational tempo. Subsequent to these phases, a gradual increase in the number of participating banks is expected to join the exchange window, which will naturally improve widespread accessibility and overall convenience for holders globally. Over a longer time horizon, both the Iraqi Dinar and the Vietnamese Dong could potentially benefit from significantly improved liquidity, much broader international recognition, and a more consistent, seamless integration across international markets. These observable changes represent a profound and fundamental long-term movement. They are not temporary market spikes, not fleeting speculative chatter, but genuine, structural developments that are being systematically implemented across multiple, interconnected global financial systems. This establishes a solid, enduring foundation for the future of these currencies. For the dedicated holders who have navigated years of uncertainty and delays with remarkable patience, this entire period represents an undeniable turning point. The journey has been exceptionally long, often fraught with conflicting information, delayed updates, and a lack of consistent official direction. But today, that extended wait is concluding. Systems are actively updating, major banks are officially responding, exchange rates are being recognized and codified, and the processes for exchanges are being finalized. For the first time in a very long time, holders are being presented with a clear, verifiable path forward, a path that is fully supported by the official financial systems that are finally acknowledging their currencies in a meaningful, procedural way. Before we conclude this comprehensive update, let's quickly review a few practical tips that can greatly contribute to making your eventual exchange experience smoother, safer, and more efficient. Maintain your physical notes in a secure location, and ensure they are meticulously organized and bundled according to their specific denomination. You should strictly avoid folding, damaging, or marking the notes, as their physical condition is a factor in the authentication process. Crucially, commit only to using official, authorized banks or verifiable institutional programs, and never engage with unofficial brokers, private exchange claims, or unverified middlemen. Always maintain copies of all your original documentation, as well as any and all exchange receipts or transaction confirmations. And most importantly, commit to staying informed. The specific rates, exchange schedules, and procedural requirements may experience slight shifts and adjustments as more major banks come online and the system scales up. Remaining constantly updated provides you with the single best operational advantage during this historic and complex transition. The foundation of responsible action is solid, reliable information from official sources. Many thoughtful holders over the years wisely chose to follow the cautious advice offered by financial analysts and currency experts who repeatedly emphasize the virtues of patience, the necessity of caution, and the paramount importance of utilizing only official, verified financial channels. Today, that foundational advice has proven to be more relevant and critical than ever before. The combination of responsible, well-planned strategies with the powerful, new movement confirmed to be happening within global Forex systems provides holders with the most solid and reliable roadmap for successful exchange. If you are a holder who has waited patiently, methodically organized your notes, adhered strictly to safe guidelines, and actively avoided all unofficial shortcuts or speculative ventures, this moment represents the potential culmination of your long-term strategy. The global financial world is now structurally catching up to the fundamental reality that holders have understood all along. These currencies possess undeniable importance, and their current, verifiable movement within the official system is even more significant. This is a powerful, structural shift that demands attention. To finalize, let's briefly summarize the most essential key points you must take away from today's significant, fact-based update. The long-term wait for the Iraqi Dinar and the Vietnamese Dong is demonstrably reaching its final stages. Major global banks are officially moving forward with the processing of large denomination notes. Global Forex systems are recognizing and tracking the systematic movement of both currencies. Meticulous documentation and comprehensive organization are now non-negotiable requirements for all holders. The possibility of structured contract rate pathways may soon open for fully authorized holders. International liquidity for both currencies is confirmed to be increasing systematically. And for the first time in many years, holders possess the gift of clarity, a clear sense of official direction, and verifiable confirmation that genuine, high-level movement is actively underway. This is a profound, powerful shift, an opportunity built on verifiable financial structure, and with the right preparation, you can position yourself effectively to navigate it successfully.